What gear is best for summer running? Want to know how to prevent chafing? What's the best sunscreen for runners? What's the best running hat? How do you keep the eyes protected during those summer runs? And how to stay hydrated, of course, while running in the summer. We're talking head to toe running gear to make running in the hot and humid summer months possible. I have my co-pilot with me here today, Coach Whitney from our Spark Healthy Runner team. Coach Whitney, how you doing today?
I am great. It is a perfect day to record this episode as it is like a bajillion degrees here in southern Arizona. No, I'm kidding. I think it's supposed to be a high of 108. So perfect timing, right? So yeah, let's share some great tips.
Well, you just told us where you are located within the United States, and I'm over here in Connecticut, and we get some hot summer months, but your weather is definitely a lot hotter than we are here in Connecticut. For our new listeners to the Healthy Runner podcast here or the Spark Healthy Runner YouTube channel, do you mind just sharing who you are and why you love doing what you do?
Absolutely. Like Duane said, my name is Coach Whitney. I live in Tucson, Arizona, which for anybody who knows Arizona, it's like 2 hours south of Phoenix. So we're about 40 minutes from the border of Mexico. Pretty hot. I have been a running coach now, I don't even know, 4 years, something like that.
Definitely 4 years.
4 years, okay. It's like run math. It's really hard for me.
Come on, the pandemic. We'll never forget that, right? You and I were in the same run coaching course, and that's how we met.
Yeah. So actually, I think we just came up on our 4-year, right? Because it was May, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. So I love running. I love talking about running, and I really love running gear. So when Duane asked me if I could talk about summer running gear, I was like, yes, this is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited. I am going to just like spill all my knowledge on you guys. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, there's like a kid in a candy store here. It's like running gear. And I think all of us like definitely have a little fascination to running gear. I know I do as well. And I've learned some kind of tricks of the trade, right? And a lot of stuff you don't learn about until you hear about it. So hopefully, like, there's definitely going to be something that we talk about today, whether you're like brand new to running in the summer or you've been running for like 30 years in the summer months. There's going to be something that you hear today that you're like, wow, I've never heard of that. Maybe I should try it. And really, pretty much 100% of the things that we're going to mention today are not sponsored, just so you guys know. This is really just our personal experience utilizing some of these products that has really helped us be able to get in our mind clearing miles and our hard marathon or half marathon training during the grueling, hot, sweaty summer months. And hopefully, some of these tips are going to really be able to help you be able to get the consistency in your runs, because consistency is key, no matter what your training is. And honestly, these products, these tools can really help you be able to do that. So it's not as like grueling, daunting, and it doesn't need to like suck. Right? Because you hear about that too. It's like, it's too hot to run. I can't run in the summer, or, that doesn't necessarily need to be the case. And these tips are going to be extremely helpful for you when you do go out and plan for those summer runs. So what's the first thing that you want your runners to really focus on when they are going to run out in the summer, Coach?
So I really want you guys to check the weather. Now, that's not just like the day before, like the morning of. Check the weather, check your app. I don't know. I have like 5 different weather apps on my phone that I use because I usually pick whatever one I like best and go with that. I don't really know. So check the weather, but you want to make sure that you're looking at the temperature, at the dew point, at the humidity, at the wind, all of the things. But when you're looking specifically at the temperature that your phone or whatever you're using says, you want to add about 15 to 20 degrees to that, because that's what the real feel as a runner is going to be. So if it says it's 80 degrees, it's going to feel like it's 100 when you're out there running. So I want you to pay attention to that and kind of base what you take with you, what you wear, all of that stuff off what the real feel temperature is going to be. And again, that's 15 to 20 degrees more than what your app or what the real actual temperature is.
Wow, thank you for that reminder. Because I honestly, even for myself personally, sometimes I do forget that. And even just thinking about just recently, I did share kind of half marathon performance that I recently had. And I noted in that episode that it was 10 degrees hotter. And I also commented because we do need to educate the running community many times about dew point and the importance of dew point. But I often forget to think about that the temperature, no matter what the dew point is, that it is going to feel 10 degrees hotter while you're running. So even though for my race it was 70 degrees, I'm thinking 70 degrees is not warm. It's not ideal race conditions by any means. You want it kind of in the 50s. But I just thank you for reminding me, thought about it, that actually the effort I was feeling when I was trying to run my fastest during those last 3 miles is it was feeling like 80 degrees. So thank you for that reminder, honestly, because I think we don't think about that as much. And I think that really kind of, to your point, goes into how we dress, right, for those runs.
Yeah, and we did talk about it. We recorded a podcast about winter running in the winter this year, and we did talk about it then too, which, I mean, you kind of have to do it for both seasons, right? Like, if it's cold, do you need gloves? Is it hot? Do you need to make sure you're taking extra hydration? Like, there are different things that you need to consider depending on what the weather is going to be. So pay attention to it. It does make a difference.
Yeah, great. And thank you for mentioning that winter running gear episode, because if you're listening to this and you are in anywhere where, you have multiple seasons, and yeah, here in Connecticut, we're definitely need to prepare for winter. So make sure you go back and listen to that episode when the season changes, because we're going to kind of format this episode the same in that we're going to go like top down approach. We're going to go head to toes. Like, what is the summer running gear that is going to help you be able to get out there consistently for those runs? So starting with the head, what do we have first?
Well, I've got my handy dandy hat right here. Not going to put it on because that would be awkward. But you want to wear a hat or a sun visor, something that's going to keep the sun off your eyes. Because when that sun comes in, even if you're wearing sunnies like I am, it comes over, and this is going to sound really ridiculous, but you burn more energy if you're squinting. So if the sun is coming over your sunglasses and you're squinting to see, you're burning more energy than you need to be doing. So wear a hat, keep the sun out of your eyes. It'll keep you a little cooler because it keeps your face in the shade. And you can get some super cool hats. Like I have this one that I got in Cincinnati that says Cincy all over it, and it has Ohio and the bridges. But then I also have my taco hat back here. You can get some pretty cool hats. These are Sprints is the brand, and they make hats, but they also make visors. So some of you guys don't like wearing like the full-on hat over your head. So you can opt for a visor. It'll do the same thing. It'll, keep the sun out of your eyes, but you want something like this to protect your eyes, to protect your face. Also, when it's super, super hot, this you can't do with a visor, but with a hat, you can run into a convenience store, gas station, whatever you call them where you live. You can get some ice, throw it in the top of your hat, put it on your head, and it's going to cool you down. It's like swamp cooling for your head. It's fantastic. I do that all the time. So hats have lots of purposes. So go and find a great hat. These, I want to say these aren't that expensive. I want to say they're like 25 or 30 bucks, but totally worth the money. So.
Yeah, and you want a hat that is breathable, right? Like,
yeah,
those
definitely.
that just have their, I don't know, dad hats laying around, or the baseball caps that are kind of thicker and like made of wool. That's not what you want to run in. They do make specific hats for runners, and it does make a difference, right? Like you want little holes in it, so like,
Yep.
it can release some of the heat from your head. And yeah, I remember getting a great one at the Cape Cod Marathon last year that has lots of holes in the back. It's very breathable. I actually wore it for the race because I liked it so much. And yeah, the ice in the hat trick that like literally saved my marathon training last summer. How many times I needed to utilize that just for like that temporal cooling, and the the easiest spot to actually cool down your core body temperature is actually the top of your head. There's another couple places where we have like lymph nodes, essentially like armpits and like back of the neck. Like there are a couple of areas in our body that will help cool your body down quicker, and just to bring your core body temperature down, because it's all about when that core body temperature gets too high, then that's when we start overheating, heat exhaustion, which we don't want to get to. So yeah, the ice in the hat trick is like perfect. The only problem with it is make sure you keep running, because if you stop to walk, then like all as the ice is melting, like goes everywhere in your eyes. And as long as you're going forward momentum, then usually the ice will melt off in a backwards direction and is not like getting everywhere into like your headphones and things like that. But that is a great trick. And if I could just add in also the other trick that I like, and I'm not sure how many women do this, but I know this has been great for me, is like headband. So this is like Lululemon one. I literally have all 4 colors that they make, because I did like this one last year, where it is breathable and it does have a little elastic on one side and the other. And then even with some of the ice, so let's say I didn't want to fill my whole hat with ice, I can usually put a couple cubes actually in the headband itself, and it kind of holds it in place. But it just does trap a little bit more sweat. It helps prevent a little more sweat getting toward the eyes. We're going to talk about that in a little bit with a little Whitney's trick to prevent that. But does it block all sweat from coming down? No, but it helps, and it helps kind of absorb some of that. And then I feel like it's like multi-purpose, where you can be able to put a couple of ice cubes in there as well. Probably makes you a little more aerodynamic if you have a lot of hair up there, right? It kind of like holds your hair back so you can run a little faster. So I'm a big fan of the headband. Again, I don't know how many females run with headbands. I feel like I don't see many females running with headbands. And sometimes I'll double up. I'll have the headband in addition to the hat, especially on a sunny day, when I really want the hat to kind of protect from the elements of that radiant heat from the sun.
Yeah, I don't really do the headband. I do it in the winter for my ears, but
right.
The hat, girls, we have this problem. The flyaways that like get in your face and like stick to you when you're sweaty. So the hat or the visor prevents that. But I guess a headband would do the same thing. So maybe I'll give it a try.
All right. Well, I remember after our winter episode, actually, if you remember, I told you I've never used a headband in the winter, that I always go with the hats. And then after that episode, I actually did try a winter headband, and I actually wound up liking it a lot. This is like a follow-up. It's like a follow-up to that session where I did like that it kept my ears warm, but I didn't overheat. Yeah. So I did become a big fan of the headband for winter running. That's warmer than this headband. This is like a summer headband. The winter one is more like fleece lined, helps keep you a little bit warmer.
Yes, definitely.
All right. So what else do we have for the head area? Something that you might be wearing right now, perhaps, for those that are watching the YouTube video.
Those of you watching, I am wearing my Spark Blue Gooders. These are one of my favorite pairs. I'm going to make a confession right now. I did count, and I have 18 pairs of Gooders, all in different colors. None are repeats. So maybe Gooder will want to sponsor us at some point. Who knows? But these are absolutely fantastic. They are polarized. They are lightweight. They are, I don't even know what the material is, but it's some like anti-slip grippy something. They never ride down my nose. Like, I'm a sweaty runner, so I'm constantly like wiping my face, getting the sweat off. They never slip. Never slip. They're polarized. Like I said, a billion colors. And they're not that expensive. I want to say these are the OGs because I have a small face. I think they start at like $25, but they have ones for normal sized people or men. I think they're called the Big Friendly Giant, the BFGs. They have cat eyes. They have like those cool, like almost like ski goggle ones. Actually, they do make ski goggles, but they have so many different kinds, guys. Go and check them out. It's Gooder, Goodr. And they're super cool.
Yeah, I think you definitely have me beat 18. I think I'm definitely in the teens. I don't think I have 18. I'm looking over at my pile there. They're all laid out. different colors, of course. These are the aviators. And I definitely thought the BFG stood for something else. Maybe I didn't read the fine print, but I just assumed the FG was for something else. But these are, I love my Gooders, and they have fun names too. Like this one is Carl is my co-pilot, right? So they're like fun, and you can mix and match them to your outfits. And what I love best about these too is, like you said, they're not very expensive. So like if you're ever anything like, me, if you ever had like expensive sunglasses and you're just like afraid and where you put them down, this and that, and you scratch them, they get too scratched, then it's like, okay, you ditch them. And we're big beach people too, so I love just taking these on the beach. And the salt water after a while does wind up ruining the lenses, or if you got some sand on it and you go to take the sand off, it scratches the lens. But it's like for 25-30 bucks, the BFGs I think are like 35. You can definitely not feel guilty at all. And I feel like I definitely put them through the paces between whether it is running, just out leisure. Like these are my regular everyday glasses now, in the car, at the beach. They're just so multi-purpose. And the most important thing is they're protecting our eyes, right? And you need to protect your eyes. When we're out there for the sun, I went for an eye appointment for the first time in like forever, because I have like 20/20 vision, so I don't really go often. But they did actually note like there was a tiny little spot in my eye. I guess it's like similar to skin cancer. So they're like, do you protect your eyes when you're outside? I'm like, yes, I do. So it is important. Sometimes we forget about that. So if you're someone like my girls who hate wearing sunglasses, and they prefer to squint, there's a functional purpose to protecting your eyes, and just making sure that we're not getting too much sun while we're out there getting in our run. So sunglasses, utmost importance. Gooders, like you should definitely be sponsoring the podcast by now. I really don't know why you're not, tell you the truth, because of how many pairs we all wear on our Spark Healthy Runner team. But we will talk about that later. Let's kind of work our way down off the head area. What do we have next, Coach?
All right, Chapstick. Now, Duane alluded to my special tip about Chapstick. So you want to wear Chapstick when you run, right? Because it protects your lips, keeps them from getting dry. I find when my lips are dry, I'm thirstier, which means I'm getting dehydrated. But especially in the winter, your lips are going to get really chapped if it's windy. So I prefer Burt's for my lips. However, you know that your grandma's old black original flavor Chapstick brand chapstick. Gross, right? Nobody wants to use that flavor. Now, take it and put it on your eyebrows before you run. And what it does is the wax in the chapstick, don't use a different flavor because that will hurt. Don't use a different flavor. Use original. It causes the sweat to bead off your eyebrows instead of dripping into your eyes. It will save you so much pain and discomfort. And I am not even joking. Like when I first heard this tip, I was like, there's no way I am putting chapstick on my eyebrows. That is ridiculous. But I did it. And it was a world of difference, guys. Like no joke, no sweat dripped into my eyes. And like I said, I am a sweaty runner. Like I will admit it. This trick works. So you have to use the black original chapstick brand. If you use anything else, the mint, the strawberry, it's going to hurt. So
it's going to like sting your skin?
No, well, it'll drip into your eyes.
Oh, okay. And then like the flavoring they use. And you'll probably attract any like gnats, mosquitoes in the area.
Right. That's the last thing you want is like bugs flying. Yeah, no.
You don't want to attract any bugs while you're running.
Yeah, and you can get most grocery stores or Target have them just like in the checkout aisle. So when you're just walking through next time, just grab one. It'll save you, I promise.
Yeah, ever since you shared that tip with me, I use it every single long run, in the summertime, every single race. if you ever see my race photos, you'll probably notice, like, dude, what's that white stuff he has on his eyebrows? Because I got some like bushy eyebrows, so I need to put a lot on so you can like visibly see it. Just because, yeah, I don't want sweat going in my eye. And yeah, I think probably if you have bushier eyebrows like I do, then you probably need more, or it's not like 100% sweat proof. It's almost like the headband. If you stop, or if you walk, or if you stop, take a pee break or whatever, like you'll notice like sweat actually goes through it. But as long as you keep moving forward, it usually does a great job at just like, wicking away the sweat from going in your eye.
Yeah. Well, and if you wear your sunglasses, I mean, I have a tiny face, so they kind of cover my eyebrows, so nobody would see your white eyebrows. So, an extra reason to have some good sunglasses.
Very true. All right. So, as we kind of chapstick, what else do we have on the head there?
So, if you're anything like me, I'm constantly listening to podcasts like the Healthy Runner podcast or music. Actually, I've really gotten on a kick of listening to audiobooks when I run, which drives Ross crazy because he's like, you're running and you're listening to running. Like, because I like to listen to educational books. But you need a good pair of headphones. And I absolutely love the Shocks. I don't even know what these are. The Shocks something. Open air, maybe?
Yeah, open run or open, yep.
Something like that. But they go over your ears and they work through bone connectivity, which means they don't need to go in like your ear hole. I don't even know what you call it. Your
canal.
Ear canal. They sit in front of your ear. So it works through, the sound goes through the bone and goes into your ear. Which not only makes them safe because you can hear everything around you. Like I literally can have these on, run into a friend, have a full conversation with her while my music is still going, and I'm able to hear absolutely everything. It's probably kind of rude. I should take them off, but you can hear cars, you can hear dogs, you can hear the bikers coming up behind you going ding, ding, on your left. Like you hear everything. So they're super safe. I'm never worried when I wear these, like if I wear them at night or in the dark, I'm never concerned I'm not going to hear where I live a coyote coming up behind me or something. However, they are a little more expensive, but I don't even know. I've been running for 10 years now, and this is the second pair that I bought only because they came out with a new design. Like the other ones work just fine. I will say some people like to run with AirPods or like in the ear headphones. Those are going to get filled with sweat and they're going to fall out because they're going to get sweaty. I know it sounds gross. You don't think you sweat in your ears, but you do. They tend to fall out. The last thing you want to do is be running a race and at like, I don't know, mile 16, your earbud falls out and then you have no music the rest of the time. Like that would be awful. So give these a try. They're called Shocks. And they're my absolute favorite. They are sweat proof. They are water rain proof. And I tested them because I wore them last year for the Flying Pig half marathon where it was torrential downpours and they worked absolutely fine. Never had an issue. And they hold the battery really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, since I've started using those probably 3 years now, I've never looked back, never even considered anything else. They're just amazing for all the reasons that you just mentioned. I can think of one recent lightning storm that I got kind of caught in torrential downpours. But yeah, my headphones worked perfectly fine. And yes, like you said, sweat proof. So great for summer running, great for the ice in the hat trick. If it starts dripping down, you'll have no issues. And for safety, it is just epic. And I was skeptical when I first tried them because I didn't always like when you're running by cars. And if you were listening to a podcast, let's say, where it was a little lower volume versus like music, then you would lose like some of the words, right? Like you want to be able to hear all the words, whereas music, you don't necessarily need to hear all the words. But I was like amazed at how the bone conduction and just like vibration of the bones, like you can still hear everything clearly, even though you do hear that car passing. So from a safety standpoint, it's kind of like a no-brainer. It is literally one of the best. Like there's probably like 3 on this list that we have. Like I would say is like the best like gear for running. So highly recommend.
Yeah, and I mean the ones that I have are all one piece. They do have a new one that came out I don't know, probably in the last year or so, that are 2 different pieces. So one for each ear. For me, that's one more thing I have to keep track of. I really
Right.
like having the one piece, and then you can put it around your neck. Like when you cross the finish line or you are done with your run and you start to drive home, whatever, you can just put it down around your neck and it's not going to go anywhere. Um,
Right.
yeah, and
Makes
they're
sense.
super comfortable. Like wearing them with a hat and sunglasses never hurts my ears. I was skeptical of the over the ear, but I've never had an issue. Never hurt. So,
I love it.
yeah.
All right. So as we come off of the head, what do we have before we get to the trunk?
So the neck, which I didn't grab my neck gaiter because I forgot about it, but you can wear a buff. And these were super popular during COVID. Everybody was wearing buffs. Grab one of those, maybe wash it, grab one of those, put it around your neck when it's wet, or stick some ice in it, and it's going to keep your core temperature a little bit lower. It's going to also, if you put the ice in the back, it's going to drip down. It's going to be great. It's going to cool you off. You can refill it as you're running. Like if you run through like a gas station or past your house, just run in, grab some cubes, stick them in there. And you get to reuse that buff that you haven't seen in a few years.
Yeah, and I could imagine, I don't know if I ever did it. I might have done it on accident. Somehow I feel like my Spark one, the cotton one, like froze one time. And I think, so like even wetting it and putting it in the freezer before like a long run, I would imagine would be like super helpful at just keeping that core body temperature down early on. And then like you said, you could always wet it with cold water, put a couple ice cubes, in it, around it, try to get it on your neck, just to provide some of that cooling. But yeah, I've never thought about covering the neck area because you think like you cover it in winter, not summer. But I could see what you're saying in terms of almost using it as somewhat of like a freezer pack on the go.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will also protect you from the sun, which is kind of nice. We'll talk about sunscreen later, but one more barrier there to protect your skin. It's not going to hurt. So,
yeah. So how about tops? Like what types of running tops should we be wearing in the summertime?
Lightweight, as light as you can go. Women, girls, if you are comfortable running in a sports bra, go for it. Less material on you. You're going to be cooler. Stay away from cotton. Do not run in like a shirt like I'm wearing right now, a cotton t-shirt, because it's not going to dry. It's not sweat wicking. It's going to hold all that moisture, all that heat in, and you're going to have a lot of chafing. So as lightweight as you can go. I have a couple tops that I love that are from Athleta. I have a couple tops from Lulu that are absolutely amazing. I can't remember the name. But they're super thin, but they have enough coverage. I don't like to run in a sports bra. That's never been my thing. They're lightweight. It almost feels like I'm not wearing a top. But I also wear t-shirts sometimes to protect my shoulders from the sun. But again, lightweight, sweat wicking. Check the label check the tag on the shirt and see what it is. Avoid cotton.
Yeah, and I guess on our recent summer Q&A episode with Coach Lou, he talked about running at elevation, which is something that we don't really do over here, but those that are running in elevation, you're closer to the sun, the radiant heat from the sun is a lot more. So you might need to protect your skin even more so. And I have heard that actually wearing the light colored, even long sleeve for your arms might actually keep you cooler as long as it's lightweight, breathable, than actually having your skin exposed to the hot, radiant sun. So that's something you might want to try as well in, keeping your skin protected, but then also can actually cool your body, especially if it's really sunny and hot. And that is really what you're trying to do, is to prevent like the radiant heat from the sun from impacting, how your body feels during those runs. So that's something that, again, I would have never thought about, or even arm sleeves, right? And you see some marathoners using that, which may help actually keep them cooler as long as it's light colors, right? Like the whites, and you don't want to go out there with black. You don't want something that's going to attract the sun, but that might be helpful. And I like your point about, t-shirts for more protecting the tops of the shoulders. Like, you can't forget about that. A lot of times we forget about that, or even the back of the neck. And then I would imagine at some point today, we're probably going to talk about like hydration vests. And for me, I've always had some issues with certain vests with chafing if I wear a tank top. So sometimes I would need more like I don't know, I don't wear them a lot, but I did get one last year just for that purpose of my long runs. It's like the wider tank top. I don't know what you call those. They look like
muscle tanks, the thick straps.
Yes,
Like
the thick straps. Yeah, there's a name for it, and I can't think of it. But like, I think of, I don't know, like basketball tops or something, whatever. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. This shoulders, tops of the shoulders, it's like a thicker. So I got one of those specifically for my long runs when I'm wearing my running vest. So, the vest isn't actually touching the skin. So I think great points that you mentioned there, but generally speaking, the lightest is kind of the rule you can't go wrong with, in light colors. And then depending upon, your variables, factors, things like that, is how much do you want the skin to be covered, essentially.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Excellent.
Should we talk about running vests?
We might as well.
All right.
A nice little segue there.
Well, I've got mine right here. I'm not going to put it on because that would be kind of awkward right now. But mine is a Nathan's brand. If you're watching the YouTube video, you can see it's Nathan. It has a big bladder in the back. I think this is a 1.6 liter. Yep, 1.6 liters I can put of water. Mine is insulated, which is really nice. I did spend a little extra money to get the insulated one because I do live in Arizona and it's really hot. This is fantastic. It goes over your back, kind of like a backpack. This tube then is in the front. It's easy to pull out and drink from. Stick it back in. It doesn't really go anywhere. It has a nice little magnet. But mine has like 100 pockets. In the front, it's got pockets. In the back, it has pockets. It has a shove pocket back here to put winter. If I take my gloves off, I can put them in the back. Like, I can probably carry 50 pounds of stuff with me if I wanted to. Now, that's a lot. I don't want to do that. But I always, always, always run with water. At least water. Sometimes I take Gatorade with me, but I always have water in here. In the summer, what I do is I'll take I'll actually just take the whole thing and I throw it in the freezer. I'll fill it like halfway and lay it flat in the freezer. Now, I lay it so that what is going to touch my back is on the bottom so that the ice freezes, so it'll be against my back, if that makes sense. So then when I put my water in, the part that is the coldest is against me to keep me cooler. Now, it is insulated, so I don't know how well that actually works, but it makes me feel good. And then, like I said, in the front, I've got these really big, deep pockets, which works fantastic if you like to run with Gatorade. Also, I use my soft flask, which is a very soft material. It's very crumply. And as you drink from it, it like crinkles in on itself. So it takes up less space. It has a very long straw, so I barely have to like move my head to get to it when I'm drinking. So it's super convenient. I don't put Gatorade. I don't put anything but water and ice in my bladder of my hydration vest because it will get stinky. It's hard to clean, honestly. And you can never really get all the flavor out. So I'm a waterholic, so I want water all the time. So I'll take water. I take Gatorade. I mix it up the night before, put it in the fridge or the freezer so it's nice and cold. And that's usually what I use. If I am going on a shorter run, sometimes I'll take a handheld or something else, but I actually have 3 hydration vests, and it really just depends on my outfit. I know that sounds really silly, but like my sunglasses, I like to coordinate my colors, so yeah.
Yeah, the running vests are a game changer. Like, that's first off, I guess, if you've never considered a running vest, whenever you are running in the summer, and you're out there during hot weather, after 30 minutes of running in hot weather, you need to hydrate. So the running vest is kind of the most efficient way for you to be able to bring a bunch of water, electrolytes with you. it was something that I thought, or the misconception I would say is, well, I'm out there hot. Like, why do I want to put more layers on? Right. Like we just mentioned light, right. Layers. But it's honestly the most efficient way for you to be able to bring water with you. And yeah, I've been using running vests for about 3 or 4 years now, and I've gone through 4 of them. One ripped, the other one wasn't comfortable at all, and my last one was okay, but it would always never seem to fit properly, where I would always need to snug it up more. The lower amount, the more I drank, less water. I would have to constantly snug it up on the sides. And just like with my body type, for some reason, it just didn't cut me right in like the inside and my lat area and like the side of my torso. I felt like if I didn't snug it up super tight, then it kind of bounces. But then when I snug it up enough, then like literally my ribs can't like expand to breathe. So I always felt like there was a better way. So I've done my research and I really looked into different types of running vest. I watch way too many YouTube channels. I didn't find a lot of great information. I really had to like do some digging and to try to like figure out like what was the best running vest. And I did find like a bunch of videos that really were like all sponsored videos. So I like wasn't sure. That's why I kind of like this episode, honestly, that nothing is sponsored, because, it's like our genuine,
Right.
interest in like what we do like and what we use, and having gone through many running vests. So if you've ever dealt with the issues I had with it bouncing too much, just not hitting you on the side. And I know Coach Kat has mentioned in the past that she likes the Nathans because they're open on the side for her. For me, the openness with just a strap cut into like my lats or the side of my ribs. So I did find this Solomon running vest that I really, really enjoyed and noticed a huge difference when I tried using it this training cycle, because on the side it's like made of elastic, and it's like advanced skin or whatever, so it does feel like a part of your body and it avoids the bouncing of the vest at all. And honestly, it was the most breathable up front with how it kind of straps together, and it never like comes loose. So the types of system that it has in the front was super nice, and so much so that I decided to actually wear it for my half marathon race, that I've never ever taken hydration with me for a race, because it is so comfortable. So yeah, I've really enjoyed this one. I haven't had any chafing issues in the shoulders, like I mentioned before, either. It even does, it's got all the pockets. Like most of them have a lot of pockets for storage and things like that. But it does have like a protective sleeve that keeps things insulated. So like if you put your bladder in, I don't use a bladder. I just use the 2 front bottles. But what I am thinking for this summer is inside that insulated sleeve that goes in the back, I'm going to put an ice pack in there to really kind of keep my core body temperature down. And then the other thing that I actually noticed that's super helpful for running vest is if you freeze your water bottles and then defrost them enough, like when you wake up in the morning, if it's like an hour, hour and a half, they'll be like half frozen. And then you put them on your body. So you're already starting, because it's attached to your body, like cool. And again, the longer your core body temperature can stay at a lower, you're going to be better later in the run. So I found that super helpful, to kind of like freeze those water bottles, but you got to make sure you leave enough time to defrost, or you got to like throw it in the microwave, which I might have done before the race because I didn't realize how hard and solid they would be frozen. I was scared I wouldn't have any water for the race, because it would still be like a solid ice cube. But yeah, this running vest has worked out great thus far. So you just might need to try different ones, I guess, is like the moral of the story too. Unfortunately, they do cost a pretty penny.
But you can go to your local running store, because they're going to have all the different options. I know my Fleet Feet, that's actually where I bought this one. The other ones I bought online, but you can try them on, and a lot of the stores have like a treadmill, so you can actually like run and see how it fits. But I know mine is female specific, comes in different sizes, and I will say for Nathan's at least, ordering it online, like the measurements are spot on. So if it says you're chest should be whatever inches around. It's exactly what that is. So take a look at that or go and try one, because I've actually been interested in trying the one that you have, Duane, just because I like the color. But try them because they are all slightly different.
Yeah, and they do have different colors. The one thing I will say too with the vest is, unfortunately, no matter what vest I did have, like they get stinky quickly. Like, so you do have to wash them like almost after every run, because if you don't, then it's just going to like smell disgusting. So you do have to, maintain and wash them, and, not put them in the dryer, let them air dry so the materials don't get ruined. But yeah, it's been a huge game changer. I feel like any long runs in the summer, it's like requirement almost, that you need a hydration vest.
Yeah, it's weird if you see, well, where I live, if you see anybody out running that doesn't have one, it's like, wait, they must just be like going down the block. Like everybody wears them because it's always so hot. So
you like get nervous and you're like, should I dial 911? This person's obviously like running from someone, or like an animal, right?
right,
Or a coyote came out.
right. Seriously, yeah. The only time people don't have them. So yeah.
Yeah. So any other tips for vests at all?
This is kind of not hydration related, but a light vest. So I know the Spark team, we all love Nox gear, our light vests. I forgot to pull mine out, but it is like just these small skinny tubes with a reflective belt that secures it to your front. It's got a giant light thing on the back. Now, this sounds heavy. It's not. You barely even notice you're wearing it, honestly, because you can tighten it and make it so it doesn't bounce or move around at all. But it makes it so that cars, bikers, walkers, anybody can see you, because you can have like a disco party. You can have a solid color. You can have it flashing and changing colors, but it makes you visible to others, which is so important, especially because it's hot. We're all trying to run super early or later after work. It's those dusk and dawn. Those are the most dangerous times to be running because drivers are distracted. The light's funky, or the sunlight is funky. So being visible is going to be so important to you. I even bought one for my mom and dad for Christmas because they started running and run walking. And I'm like, you guys have to wear this. Like, the last thing I want is for you to get hit because you're not, visible to other people. So get a light vest. Nox gear is amazing. I've never had an issue with them. And I even have the little light attachment that's kind of like a headlamp, but it attaches to the buckle on your chest, and it can tilt up and down so you can angle it so you can see where you're going. So you don't see the you see the potholes, you see the snakes, you see the cracks in the sidewalk, whatever it is that you want to avoid, you can see your surroundings. And they make one for dogs. So I even bought my mom and dad a light vest, a Nox gear, for Christmas this year because I didn't want them outside early mornings. They're getting older. Sometimes their vision's not great. I wanted them to be visible to everybody, all the drivers. They also live in Connecticut. So, you're used to how dark it is and how late the sun comes up. But I bought one for them because I wanted them to be safe. They even make them for the dogs too. So they don't get a little spotlight where they can see where they're going because they're dogs. But you can get the vest so your dog's lit up and visible to everybody too. And they actually call it a light hound. So I didn't have one for Olaf, but I guess now I'm going to need to get one for him and one for the new puppy. So I think that's going to be the dog's Christmas present this year. Will be there. Each get a light hound.
There you go. Yeah, those are essential for just safety, honestly, for runners who, summertime for the most part, most of us are in the light, but it ends quickly, right? Like after summer solstice, in August when it's still hot outside, you start getting surprised. That's like, oh darn, it's starting to already like get darker earlier, and we're not having as much of that light hours. And as you're heading into like fall race season, you're back to running in the dark again. So it is one of those essentials for safety, almost like, the shocks. in terms of safety. So you got to stay visible to other cars. And yeah, I wear mine over my hydration vest as well. It kind of like works out perfect
Yeah, I do too.
that I have that over, and there's no issues. And like Whitney said, it's super lightweight, so it doesn't feel like there's anything on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, besides, let's say someone didn't either have a hydration vest, they can't invest in one yet, or maybe they're just going out for like a 40-minute run and they don't really want to bring their hydration vest, but they want to go for a quick run. Other options for carrying hydration with you?
So you can always use a handheld. I hate handhelds just because I always feel lopsided, like, or I'm switching my hands. And then this is a first world problem, and I know it, but my hand gets really hot, the hand that's holding it. So I don't like that. So I, because I ran the New York City Marathon last year, they don't allow hydration vests. I tried a bunch of different things. I bought a Nathan belt. I bought a spy belt. I bought a flip belt. I bought a bunch of different things. And the one that I ended up loving is Spy Belt. It's SPI belt. But it's fantastic. It just goes around your waist. It has this big pocket that opens up in the back that's big enough to fit my phone, which is an iPhone, plus my chapstick, plus my salts. This one in particular has the little loopies. I don't know if you're on YouTube, you can see it. If you're just listening, it has the gel loops where you can stick your gels. It has 4 of those. But the one that I bought, and I don't remember the name of it, came with 2 bottles, and they are each, I don't know, 5 ounces maybe. Oh, I'm sorry, they're 8 ounces. And they just clip right on to the front of your belt when you're running, or the back, however you prefer. And they're just right there. I usually put one with Gatorade, one with water. I've got 2 of them with me. And I'll do that for shorter runs, or if I'm preparing for a race that's not going to allow hydration vests, I kind of get used to it. And then I'll just make loops around my house and come back and refill, which is kind of inconvenient, but it allows me a potty stop. It allows me to grab more gels or whatever I need to kind of mimic what race day would be like. And these have been fantastic. They don't leak. I've never had any issue with them, and they're easy to wash. I don't know if they can go in the dishwasher, but I just
I would
put some hot
imagine
water
they're
and
like,
just like shake it, and it's fine.
I would imagine they're like top rack safe.
Probably, right? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
But
so
great.
that's a good option. I've never tried the spy belt myself. I did have another running belt. I think it's called like Fit Athletic. I remember getting it at the Run Disney Expo back in 2020. My wife and I have used that for many years, and they have those smaller bottles. For me, I personally don't like the bounce of the bottles around the waist, and that's why I prefer the vest now. But did you find the spy belt like the best out of all the other options?
Yes. So I can't remember if they come in sizes or not. But all of them, like, I'm not a very curvy person. I don't have hips. It's pretty much just a line. It's stupid. But all the belts that I would find would be like up around my chest, and I'd be constantly adjusting them the whole run, and it was so annoying. Spy belt was the only one that I was able to wear and not have to readjust it. Maybe after like 10 or so miles, I'd like pull it down a little bit because I think pulling the bottles off would kind of move it around. But I ran the New York City Marathon with it, and I don't think I adjusted it once, except maybe like as I was pulling a gel out, I kind of adjusted it, just because it's what
Right.
I'm doing. But it doesn't bounce, and I was able to make it tight enough on my body that it was the perfect fit. And the little pouch is, I think it's like water resistant. I don't know, but it's sweat proof. So my phone
Hmm.
didn't get all sweaty and gross, which was nice.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an option, and I think trying it out, and there's something to be said about getting used to that little bounce. Because I remember it took me a while to get used to that when I was feeling it, and it's funny that you mentioned handhelds because this is the first season that I did try using a handheld for the first time ever in my running career. Figured just give it a whirl, see what I thought on the shorter runs. I didn't want to take the vest with me. This is convenient if you constantly go by a place where you can fill up and you know it's on your route. So for me, it's like if I'm running 5 or 6, I'm running within an hour. I'm going to get to the McDonald's down there so I can just like pop in, fill up water, boom, go out, add some ice if I need. If you're in a park and there's a water fountain, right? Like this might be an option. Also on the belts is an option. The nice thing about the handhelds, which I never really realized, versus like holding a plastic water bottle, because I've done that plenty of times before when I didn't have anything. You have to grip it the whole time. These are nice because they like are ergonomically correct, where they conform to your grip. So those of you watching the video version, you could see that, and you don't have to actually grip it. So it does have this strap that goes on the back, so you're not like constantly gripping it, but you are running. And then it even has a channel for like your thumb, which is kind of nice. So it like sits there comfortably, and you're not like expending a lot of energy to hold the bottle. But like you said, it was a little weird for me at first to feel a little difference in my arm swing weight. I think I got used to it, honestly, after a week or two. So it's like, do you like the difference in arm swing weight, or are you okay with the bounce of a belt to have smaller bottles? I don't know what's best for you, but there are options. We're just giving you some options here, because the most important thing is you're going to most likely need to take hydration with you during your summer running, even for your short runs. If you are getting thirsty, it's already too late, right? And the best way to stay hydrated is take small sips throughout, versus what I used to do is like chug 2 cups of water before the run, get home, chug 2 more cups of water, and thinking like, oh, I made up for the hydration. But that's not really the best way to hydrate and to actually stay hydrated. So it is better to take those smaller sips throughout your run, which both of these options that we just mentioned, or I guess all three, are going to be able to do.
Yeah, I do know some people that like, I don't know, they must do laps or something. Or if you're at a track, you can just put a water bottle on the side somewhere or behind a tree or whatever if you don't want to carry it. But please, 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 if you are running in the summer, take water with you somehow. However you need to do it, please make sure you have water with you.
Yeah, and definitely add to that. I know you're passionate about this as electrolytes as well, and we're going to record a full episode with Brooke, our registered dietitian, to answer all of your summer hydration and electrolyte questions, which is going to air right after this episode. So make sure you kind of catch that one, because we'll talk about the importance of electrolytes. And I like how you mentioned today that you have different bottles for different purposes, whether it was on the belt or even in your vest. And I'm the same way. I do one on my vest with my electrolytes, one with my water, and then I'm going to refill halfway through my long run. Usually I'm halfway through my electrolytes, so then it just like dilutes it a little bit, and then my water is like totally gone, and then I'll refill the water up. But yeah, electrolytes and water is essential for summer running. So let's kind of continue our gear, working our way down from kind of the tops and the vests and the waist. Where do we go next?
So now we go to shorts. So it's going to be too hot to wear pants. Like, let's be honest. It's hot. You don't want to wear pants. I will say I do not race in shorts. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. I'll wear capris. I have like 18-inch capris that come like just below my knee if I'm going to be racing in the summer, which is rare because I live in Arizona. But this is so weird. I don't like it if my legs touch. I don't like it if I'm like running and my gait gets kind of off and my knees touch. Like, I just don't like it. So I don't race in shorts. But all of my training runs, I do wear shorts. I prefer in the summer, especially for the longer runs, anything over like 4 or 5 miles, I want bike shorts, like the bike style, the tighty tight shorts, because there is not as much room for error, essentially. The material is not going to get kind of bunched up. There's less room for thigh chafe. Like, for me, it's more protective, I feel like. And then you get that really sweet tan line at the end of summer from wearing the same length shorts all year. But the bike shorts, if you can find a good pair that doesn't ride up, it's not going to cause as much chafing, essentially. I will say I really do like the typical running shorts, like the ones that have the built-in undies in them, because I do feel like they are a little cooler, but you get 6, 7 miles into a hot run and you're sweating, that material starts to kind of ride up your thighs a little bit. It'll bunch up. Then you get chafing. So for me, if it's a shorter run, I'll wear my loosey goosey shorts. Anything more than 4 or 5 miles, or if I know it's going to be super hot, it's the bike shorts.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The shorts that I like to run in are the Lululemon ones, like the Fast and Free. It has a bunch of pockets, which is very helpful. Where I can put my phone in the side pocket. And it's got like those. I don't like the underwear liner, right? Like more of the I don't know what you call it, but more of the short liner shorts that are on the inside, like the bike shorts. So those work the best for me. That's what I wear for all of my races and honestly all of my runs now. It is super helpful. I've haven't delved into feeling comfortable as a dude running in bike shorts. I know many do, and more power to them. I don't know. It just seems still a little weird to me. So the shorts that I do um, pick are the ones that are actually a little bit more on the looser end. Yeah, so I've never done the bike shorts, so to speak, but I know many do like that and prefer that it is lighter weight, and they like racing in it for the males. But I just prefer some. You definitely don't want the skin, touching between the thighs because then that can cause some chafing issues. But yeah, those are shorts probably work best. I also do the lightweight compression socks as well in the summertime, which I found helpful, which again, you think would be counterproductive to wearing more clothing. You'd be hotter. But honestly, let's be honest, when you're out there for those hot runs, you're already hot like the moment you get out there. So is it really make a difference if your legs, like if your calves are showing or they're not? And sometimes people run into the issue with the hot weather running of swelling, especially in their legs. So sometimes the compression socks can actually help prevent some of that swelling in that really hot weather versus not wearing compression socks. And they make them super lightweight ones as well. CEP is like the brand, probably most popular. Those are the ones that have the most. So whether I do the calf sleeves or the full length socks, I do find that those can help prevent some of that post long run swelling or during long run swelling in those hot, humid conditions. Yeah, as we kind of make our way down, do you want to get into socks as well?
Socks. I love socks. Socks are like sunglasses to me. I have them in every color because I like to match them to my outfit. So these are my spark blue ones. These are Belega. These I believe are their Hidden Comfort. Yeah, these are the Hidden Comfort, but they're nice and they're short because I like to wear ankle socks. I don't like the crew. I think they're called crew. Those slightly higher ones that are like an inch above your ankle. I don't like those. I don't know why. I guess I'm a product of the 90s. I like the no shows. But they have this little like I don't even know what you call it. It's like a bump that goes over your heel so that your sock doesn't slip down into your shoe. And they're super nice and thick in the sole, but then the top is like a thinner material. So it kind of keeps your foot nice and cool. And I'll say I have worn these through thunderstorms, through Arizona hot summers, and I've never had an issue with having like a weird hot spot on my foot. Now, I do get like this funky blister on my toe. Same toe, doesn't matter. It's just the way my toes are. But if I put my squirrel's nut butter on it, my anti-chafe stuff on it, I don't have that issue. So I found that the Belegas are, for me, are the best. I've tried Features. I've tried Smart Wool. I
Yep.
don't know. I've tried a few different ones, and I keep coming back to my Belega Hidden Comforts. So, and they're not too crazy expensive. They last a while. But I will say, and this is something I didn't know until like a few years ago, you have to replace your socks just like you replace your shoes because the elasticity, the like magic power that they have to not have give you blisters, it kind of goes away after you wash them and wear them for a handful of times. So I don't know if I should do this because it probably hurts my wallet, but every time I buy a new pair of shoes, I buy 2 pairs of socks. And then I take 2 of my older pairs because I kind of know which ones are older and newer. And they get retired into my like every day I'm going to go run errands socks. I don't know if it really makes a difference, but I feel like it does. So, yeah.
Right. No, those are great tips. And I guess probably the misconception that most would probably make is, okay, it's hotter. I need a thinner sock. Just be careful. If you are using that thinner sock and your feet do sweat a lot, or you get caught in a rainstorm, most likely that sock is not going to provide enough protection for your skin to prevent blistering. So yeah, make sure you don't go with like the thinnest sock, especially for your long runs and or races that are anything longer than a 10K. Just because what I found is you probably need a little bit more protection between your skin and what's underneath your foot there. And yeah, me personally, I'm like the opposite of you in terms of like the ankle versus quarter. I can't do ankle if I feel my shoe hit my skin on the side or wherever. It's like a weird feeling for me. So I go the quarter length sock and I don't have to worry about it. But I also use Belega as my kind of long run and race sock. I've been doing it for many years. I used to have blisters kind of prior to that. And once you told me that tip, probably 4 years ago now, I've never looked back and I just get the same version of the sock, but I do get new pairs every year like you had suggested. So I've been following those tips all along the way. So great tips there.
Yeah.
All right. So as we kind of get into here, we had some questions in our summer running Q&A with Coach Lou. There were a couple of specific questions that folks asked, and I figured it would be best to hold off for this episode because we're talking about gear. And the first question is there anything else I can do to prevent chafing other than the use of Body Glide?
Yes. And I mentioned it for my toes. I use Squirrel's Nut Butter. Not only does it have a really cool name, but it lasts so much longer than Body Glide. I don't really honestly know what's in Body Glide, but this is like coconut oil, essentially, and coconut seed butter and vitamin E. Like, it's pretty natural. This one comes in kind of a deodorant stick style, which is great because you can just rub it wherever you need it. Rub it on your toes, rub it on your inner thighs, your knees, whatever it's going to be touching. It's super convenient. They do make like this really tiny one that when I was training for my ultra years and years ago, I put in my hydration vest to take with me. And it was perfect. It was probably like the size of like a deodorant lid. But it was great because I had it with me. I didn't need it, but I know if I hadn't brought it, I would have needed it,
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah,
So this is my favorite.
This is something I used to use Body Glide all the time. I would still get some chafing. And yeah, once I changed to Squirrel's Nut Butter, you just never look back. And you would appreciate this because I have progressed. I used to use kind of a little deodorant stick that you have there. But I progressed. I remember Coach Cat had shared that it came in like a little tub. So I don't know. The little tub is probably the size of like 2-3 ounces, something like that. And I just get them, order them from Amazon all the time. And there's actually a foot specific one. And nice little tip for you guys who do have blisters in the feet as well. We talked about socks, but I also do put actually the Squirrel's Nut Butter on any areas. So like the inside of the big toe is a big problem spot for most, especially if you're overpronator. You kind of push off on the inside. We call it like a little pinch callus that you can get sometimes. That's usually a trouble spot for most, or like the inside of the big toe, not or the joint, like where you would see almost where you'd see what's the word I am look there we go, bunion, right? Like where you'd get a bunion. So like on the joint or on the inside of the big toe. Or if you do have toes that kind of curl up a little bit and what we call like hammer toes, sometimes the joints of those toes can get irritated by the top of the sneaker. So sometimes I've had to put some on the tops of the toes. And they do make a foot blend of it. So I have a little canister of the foot that I put on my feet and then the other one. But I did my order like I normally do. And I didn't, I guess, check the size. But apparently they make one in a size this big. Look at how big this thing is. It's freaking huge.
I feel like that's enough to cover like an entire track team. Like for the
This is
entire
huge. This is like, yeah. So this
season.
is, but hey, I went through, this is probably like 3 months worth now that I'm like halfway done with it. But yeah, I don't mess around on the long runs, and definitely for races, the more the better. You can't go wrong with it. It's just going to really alleviate any of those trouble spots. If your skin has ever been irritated by a vest, by a strap, a certain clothing, really anything, honestly. So
Yeah, and I
squirrels,
will
nut
say,
butter, stuff is
like,
magic.
occasionally you'll be at a race. Big races do this. I've not seen it at small races, but they'll hand out like Vaseline on like a popsicle stick or a tongue depressor. If you're in a foreign country, make sure it actually is Vaseline, because I had a friend who was, I can't remember where she was, but she was running a race and she had thigh chafing, and she grabbed the stick thinking it was Vaseline, and it was icy hot. So make sure you know what you're putting on. Don't just assume, because I can't even imagine. She said she's never run so fast in her life.
Yeah, that had a sting like crazy. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Another kind of extra thing that I guess can talk about chafing. I know it's more popular or more prevalent in the male runners versus females, because most of you guys wear sports bras, so you don't have any nipple chafing. But for males, I've talked about this many times on the podcast before, but in case you haven't heard any of those episodes, this is my go-to. I just put these on for my goal half marathon race. So I get the generic brand of the Band-Aids. I actually find the adhesive is better. So there's like CVS brand, but they're like these big Band-Aids that I literally cover nipple area. You got to make sure you put the adhesive first. If you have a really hairy chest, you definitely need to shave beforehand, because if you just put it over the hair, it's like, it doesn't do anything. And it's going to come right off. But these have saved long, hot, sweaty runs where you plan on your shirt being drenched, or if you get caught in a rainstorm, this is going to be essential. So that heavy, wet tank top or t-shirt is not constantly rubbing over your nipple area, repeatedly with every single stride that you take, and wind up irritating your skin, and then you wind up bleeding. Happened to me once early in my running journey, and has never happened again, because you quickly learn your lesson when you experience that level of pain that you've experienced. And it never fails. Every single race I do, I think I noticed one dude who's got some blood right in his chest area on his shirt, because he did not do this. So yeah, highly recommend it for anything more than a 10K distance, honestly. Kind of essential, I find, and not worth the risk of having bloody nipples. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just thinking about that. All right. Next topic. We did have a question on, what is the best sunscreen for runners? Something that won't drip or run into your eyes. What is your go-to, Coach Whitney?
So my go-to is Zelios. It is Sports Performance Sun Barrier. So this is SPF 45. Now this I use only on my face. I actually my skin is sensitive on my face, so I wear this on my face even if I'm not running. Like, we went on a family vacation down to Mexico, and this is what actually I put on my kids too, because they're pretty sensitive. And it doesn't run into your eyes. It's not greasy. It lasts. Like, I can put it on for a marathon and I don't feel like I need to replace it or reapply it. It's called Zelios. It's Zealios. It does come on white, dries clear, traditional sunscreen, but I only use this on my face. I use Sunbum on the rest of my body, like my shoulders, my neck, all that kind of stuff, just because I really like the smell of it. It kind of smells like banana bubble gum. So we use that, but this is by far my favorite for my face.
All right. Yeah, that's really good. I know Coach Kat has tried a bunch of different products as well. So I asked her, and she had commented that she used the Neutrogena Beach Defense or the Lacombe face sunscreen. Lacombe is more geared toward women, but is very skin friendly. So hopefully that helps give you guys some options of, true tried and tested products that both Coach Whitney and Coach Kat have utilized themselves and can help you stay protected against the harmful rays of the sun while you're out there getting in your miles. Any last, tips, tricks, extras that you want to throw in there, Coach?
I would say for those of you that are married or engaged, or just like wearing rings, honestly, I hate wearing my wedding band, my actual like diamond band when I run. I always wear a silicone ring. It is flexible, it's lightweight. If you are running, especially in the hot summer months, your hands are going to swell. So getting that ring off or back on after you get home and you want to take it off for a shower, or you're putting it back on, whatever, your hands are going to be swollen and it's going to be harder to get on and off. These silicone rings you can buy them like on Amazon. They're not that expensive. They come in lots of colors, so you can match it to your outfit if you want, but it's easy to get on and off. It stretches a little bit. We were on vacation. Same vacation, I used the Zelio sunscreen, and my husband was like, my hands are so swollen, like I can't get my ring off. So he soaked his hand in ice, took his ring off, and I actually ended up giving him one of my bands, which his fingers are like 2 ring sizes bigger, and it worked. It fit him. It was a little snug, but he was able to get it on and off. So if you don't want to run with your wedding band, if it's tungsten carbide, if it's gold, if it's silver, whatever it is, and you're worried that it's going to get stuck on your finger and you don't want to have it cut off, try a silicone ring. I also don't like to run with my wedding band because I'm like, I don't want to lose this. Like if this does fall off or if the stones fall out, like that's not worth it to me. So silicone, it's a way to go.
I had never thought about that. So thank you for mentioning that. I definitely do run into issues with swelling where it's hard to get my band off, then it just stays on. It's like, I'm locked in forever anyway, right?
Yeah, right.
But I would imagine with a diamond, it does create a little bit more. Maybe it's uncomfortable to like run in. And I do take mine off for gym and working out because I don't like getting those calluses where the ring is and grabbing bars and things like that. So hopefully, guys, these tips were helpful for you. Like you said, we just wanted to share this because we've had a lot of experience using many of these products, helping with some of the common running problems that we run into, during the summer months. And if, any of this was helpful, the only thing that Coach Whitney and I ask is that you copy the link wherever you're listening, share it with a running friend of yours that can use some help running in the summer so we can continue to kind of get those mental clearing miles in. We would greatly appreciate that from you. And if you're looking for clarity and focus on like what are the problem specific areas that you need to focus on in your running journey, whether it is mindset, whether it's strength training for running, whether it's proper nutrition. We talked a lot about hydration and fueling today. That's exactly what we do within our signature Healthy Runner coaching program that we have. So you can work with Coach Whitney on our team or any of the wonderful coaches to help guide you in really providing the accountability, the support to really get you to your running goal. So you can learn more about that by just going to learn.sparkhealthyrunner.com/coaching. Coach Whitney, as always, this is always fun. I love these episodes.
So fun.
Who doesn't love talking running gear and just pulling things randomly out? So I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, as always. And listeners, I appreciate you guys for listening. As always, let's maintain a strong mind, a strong body. Let's just keep on running. Bye.
Bye.